There are some massive debates going on about Facebook ads right now. I mean, the whole system is changing yet again. I think the system is changing in a way that is so impactful that it represents the shift from offline ads to online ads, and that's because of all the stuff that's going on with AI and ChatGPT and automations. Automations are taking off in incredibly new ways because it's teaching itself. And so it reminds me of Watson as well. And I don't know if you remember the computer by IBM that competed against Jeopardy contestants, and they kind of work constantly to make sure that that machine got to a point where it could beat pretty much anybody every time. Well, that same thing is happening with AI generated advertisement targeting, and so a lot of people are going to be in an uproar about, especially think about it. If your job is to set up Facebook ads and you've been trying to justify your position by only explaining that, well, we go in and we choose what the system targets, and as Facebook changes that, they're basically eliminating that role in terms of being an advertiser. So if you've put yourself square in the middle of like, I'm important so that your Facebook ads works, and that's why, well, you're going to have a hard time convincing people to work with you in the future. Same is true with SEO people, and that's been on for a long time. SEO people are often way overhyped because Google has designed its algorithms and has been designing its algorithms for a long time to be more cognitive of what do people actually want to get, not what you put in some title or header. And yes, there's still elements of that are important, but most of them are pretty easy to put into place by most basic by most people. You don't have to be an SEO expert to get done. Well, the Facebook ads world. So why is it so important? This is so important because not only for just in general that agencies are going to have a massive shift in how they do things, but the whole point is to help the business owner feel empowered to be able to spend more on Facebook. Facebook's not working against you. They're trying to work with you. They're trying to eliminate a middleman in the process, and they're trying to make sure the business owners get better and clearer results. I don't think they're doing a great job of helping business owners understand that. And it leaves people like me in a position to where I feel like I'm being an advocate for a system that I'm not being paid to advocate for. But at the same time, I think it's very important. Like, it's such a valuable tool and asset. LinkedIn ads, same thing. And all the advertising platforms are so important for business owners to get out there and get exposure. But Facebook is the king. I mean, I think they set the precedence. This is my humble belief, but I believe that every other advertising platform on the planet has to kind of bow to Facebook in terms of setting the market standard for how much you can charge per view, or how much you can charge per click, or how much you can charge per lead. And yes, I think Google held that standard for a long time. I think YouTube influences that standard. LinkedIn pretends they're important, but they were bought by Microsoft, and Microsoft doesn't do a whole lot of things right. So at the end of the day, I do think Facebook and Instagram, because guess what? Facebook owns it. So it sets the standard. And John Loomer is somebody I look up to tremendously in the Facebook ads world, because he just provides a lot of transparent reporting of what's going on. Pat Flynn is somebody I've followed when it comes to marketing and advertising. And then I've seen other Social Media Examiner does a good job of reporting what's going on in the world. But I've seen other Facebook ad people kind of go in and out. And again, it has to do with the changing of the tides with what's going on. So if you notice right here, again, there's a screenshot that says, and this is what caught my attention and made me realize I need to do this video, switch to the original audience options. So if you click on show more options in a Facebook ads campaign, let me see here. Okay, yeah, I'll show you where it takes you. But I was looking for, when you clicked on show more options, it was only showing me a couple of targeting options. And I was like, wait a second, where's all my nifty, crafty setup of all the many options that you see here, where I can change not only age and gender, but demographics and languages and behaviors and interests. And I can really get down to the nitty gritty of who I'm trying to target. And as I realized, I was like, I need to take a screenshot of this button. Let me go back over here so you guys can see me. But I realized I need to take a screenshot of this so that I could share this with my team for our procedures. But also, it's what led me to find John's article. And I was like, sure enough, John's always the guy who's leading the way on letting people know what the heck Facebook is up to. And I love that he talks about the future of targeting and what's happening here. And he openly, I mean, this article basically walks you through like, hey guys, here's kind of a procedure of how this stuff works now, but you got to test yourself now at this point. Like you got to figure out, because I think his confidence is leaning towards, you know what? Do I keep betting on myself over this AI, or is the AI getting to the point where my individual guidance is I don't want to say it's going to become obsolete, because again, I think he knows that there's way more value involved in the system itself and how you run things and predicting budgets at large, and just knowing how advertising works in general. The guy's a genius, and he gets it. He's a genius because he works very hard on this craft. But what let me see. There's a particular part I want to read for you. So here it is: versus going broad. Going broad with targeting, removing all the interests, behaviors, custom audiences of their targeting, has increased in popularity among advertisers. And how is this different? Let's look beyond that too. But it's going popular. We should be looking at why. I think it's kind of funny. He says we've heard about the power of broad targeting. Like that's not changed. There's been an argument on branding and conversion for years, for decades, possibly, probably even much longer than that. But all of the major brands in the world, with the exception of Tesla that I've seen, Tesla did no advertising. Can't like growth through PR and media. I think it's phenomenal what he was able to do. He's a genius of PR media, and we should all learn from that as well and follow suit. But most companies have massive broad advertising campaigns. And yes, there's specific targeting. Yes, there's specific language driven behind that. But from the Coca-Cola Polar Bear, to the Geico Gecko and beyond, there's a massive benefit with making sure that you connect with audiences in major ways, and do so broadly. So anyway, there's these shifts taking place in relation to the technology and in relation to the technical components. And if you're interested in all that stuff, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you want to gravitate towards people who understand the principles behind how this stuff works. And again, that's why I like what John, how he typically looks at things. So when he talks about the future of targeting here, he says something interesting. He says, we're getting much closer to a time when we won't provide any targeting at all. And he says, while that may sound scary, the truth is that Meta already has our targeting in the form of historical data. We don't necessarily need to provide anything, because the algorithm already knows who has converted on our website and is engaging with our ads and our content. And that's exactly what I see happening as well. So breaking that down for you, that means you're not going to need me or any Facebook ad specialist in order to help you on the targeting component, because Facebook's leveling the playing field. That's what you need to get. Yes, again, Facebook advertisers are going to scream about this. They're going to be so mad about this. They're going to feel like they're lost and they can't provide any value. Like, and instead of saying like, hey, I'm obsolete, they're going to blame the system. They're going to try to convince you of other reasons to keep them around, etc. But in reality, I think the whole point is, if they level the playing field and make it easier for every single entrepreneur to get success with their ads, that just makes more people want to invest in the platform directly, rather than investing in somebody to have to manage it for you. And in addition, investing in Facebook as an advertising strategy. Now more money can go straight into the ads. The catch-22 on that, the problem that I see on that, is that I don't see Facebook doing a whole lot of work to make sure that business owners are actually learning what the heck they should be advertising. And that's a big part of the problem, is that when you put that on the owner of the business owner thinks that people come to their establishment for hot dogs, or thinks they come to the establishment for pizza, or they think I'm hungry, I guess. But think that they're into the product or the service itself, but people aren't. People need to understand the value of the vision first and the value of the culture. YouTube does a pretty good job, and Google does a pretty good job of teaching that. I'm sure Facebook has some type of hidden academy that's important, in relation to that, and is trying to figure out how to outpace people like me in providing that type of holistic guidance of, hey, like, instead of constantly trying to force all these products and services down people's throats, why don't you start taking a more holistic approach to building your business? That's where the game is going to be shifting towards if the AI does a great job of making the technicians obsolete. And I think John's right. I think we're getting to that point where Facebook's starting to bet on that. And here's what I would be doing if I was Facebook, if they're not doing it already, and I think they are, is I would be taking the John Loomers and the people like me of the world and any other Facebook, I'd be taking people who learn from people like us. I'd be hiring them and saying, hey, we want you to work on this ad campaign while the AI works in the same ad campaign, and let's see who wins. Kind of like a video game. As you put the AI against the ads manager, the real life ads manager, and you say, hey, try to beat it. See if you can. Setting, of course, conditions of metrics that you want the AI to hit based on any given preconceived notion that a business owner has to determine that they're winning. Some of them, that's I must have a great cost per lead. Some of them, it's I must have a great cost per click. And when I say great, right, a cost per click or cost per lead within a certain set of parameters. And so I think, Facebook, just like any other business as well, they're probably not necessarily trying to create an algorithm that's perfect for winning, as much as they're trying to create an algorithm that's perfect for doing what you as a business owner want it to do, while also recognizing that getting you victories and getting you financial support is going to be important for your ability to continue to invest in the platform. So what's going to happen is, in that case, the rich are going to get richer as the campaign works for those who have successful principles in place, and the people who are struggling are probably going to continue to struggle, is my guess, because the algorithm will feed you just enough to keep you going, but it's probably not going to optimize it to a point where you're actually going to win, because at the end of the day, and again, this isn't everybody, but those who are ignoring principles of growth and growing based on the carrot on the stick, so to speak, like out in front of them, those who are addicted to the process of conversions and aren't actually building a solid base for their brand, you're probably going to get drug along even further, and not reach the types of results you want, because you're not willing to shift the principles with which you're running your business to begin with. And so I think this is going to be a massive victory for the business owners who are principally driven. I think that the simplification of these types of processes will be great for the business owner with principles. I think a lot of advertisers and agencies are going to be very upset once this hits the fan, and PR media people are just going to take advantage of the noise and saying, "Oh, we got some drama. Let's hone in on this because we're going to get a bunch of clicks on it now." And so, my advice, what I look for is not the drama. I look for who's getting into this conversation for the sake of helping others, that's also qualified on the subject, which is why John Loomer just got a lot of FaceTime from me, a lot of speaking time, because he's one of those people. And I'm like, all right, if I'm looking at something from a new angle, what's John up to? Is he doing the right things? Because I just have a lot of respect for how he goes about things with his fun little picture in the bottom corner. And then I take it to people like Jake Larson too, and I'm like, hey man, what are you seeing? I take it over to again, other people who are working at bigger companies, smaller companies that have kind of no bias, no reason to direct me in any one way or the other. They're just experimenting, looking at the platforms, just like I am, saying, hey, we want to maximize our use in the platform, but there's not necessarily a transaction happening between us, which can often offset or create a bias where I'm now getting opinions from somebody who's either paid by me, and wants to look good, or somebody who I'm paying and they want to provide great, excellent information because I'm relying on them. So go outside your inner circle and get advice from third-party mastermind people that are qualified, and learn how to qualify them. Now I'm getting a little bit too far off the path of the subject of this video, but again, go, make sure that you're paying attention. And I'm in John's shoes on this. I think what you need to realize is, if John's in these shoes of, hey, we need to look at how we're doing things again. because the AI is getting more powerful, then like I said, I think it's time to get excited and realize that you want to find those advertising agencies that are more holistic in nature, principally driven, and not get hoodwinked by the people who are trying to convince you that they have the algorithm under their thumb, even though they're not named Mark Zuckerberg. So have a good one. Best wishes on your growth, and definitely always be willing to and feel free to reach out to First Class Business for further help and guidance.